Hello, music fans. You're watching Death by Unicorn, where we talk about metal, rock, and prog music. And 2025 is more than halfway over now, so it's time to talk about what are the best albums of the year so far. And I'm not going to spoil my rankings. I'm just going to talk about my 25 favorite LPs that came out this year, and I'll talk about them in chronological order of when they were released. And then I'm also going to mention two live albums, one EP, and one compilation that I really loved as well along the way, and I'll just call those out where they fall in the order. Without further ado, let's jump in. On January 17th, an awesome release from a band called Idola. The album's called Mend. It's their sixth album. They're from the US, and they're a post-hardcore band. They've got some pop influences, progressive rock, experimental rock, and progressive metal as well. And all of these albums that I'm going to talk about today at least achieved my near masterpiece tier, which this one did. So I'll call out the one. There's one that I've ranked as a true masterpiece, and all the rest are in my near masterpiece tier. So this one got near masterpiece. I love everything Idola's put out. Their last album from 2024 is my favorite post-hardcore album of that year. This album gets closer towards pop than they ever got before, but still features excellent musicianship, fast guitar parts, fast drum parts, but also nice slow atmospheric moments and beautiful chords and voicings, beautiful catchy melodies. And these guitars, while the guitars in their older music used to sound more like Protest the Hero, these guitar parts sound a bit more like Polyphia. And the clean vocals really sound like they could be in big pop hits, but the fast guitar and drum parts make it clear that this isn't your typical radio pop. There's a few parts with harsh vocals, but it really predominantly focuses on clean vocals here. That sounds good to you? Check out Mend by Idola. Then on January 31st, we had three amazing releases that I want to talk about. And the first one is my masterpiece of the year right now, probably my favorite album of the year, which is Jacob Roberge and his album The Passing. I should probably actually go grab my album, showcase some of it. Let me be right back. You know what? I decided I'm not going to. It's going to be too much of a pain for me to grab all the albums that are on this list, but I picked up Jacob Roberge's The Passing on CD. I'll showcase that at my end of year list, which I'm sure this will make. And this is a debut album by a Canadian artist. It's progressive rock with some metal influences, and yeah, it's the true masterpiece of the year. It's got a 32-minute prog epic at the end, the title track, The Passing. It's mind-blowing and amazing. And it's really wild that an artist can make something so good on his first album when he's so young. The epic is on par with the epic from Dream Theater, like the Shadow Man Incident. I'd say it's even better. Those two were kind of competing for my epic of the year position right now. And to be able to come out of the gate and write an epic that beats Dream Theater's epic is pretty amazing. And the whole album is amazing too. There's moments that are more like singer-songwriter songs, but there's also moments of intense prog, metal, and guitar shredding. If you like Porcupine Tree, Riverside, Styx, Pink Floyd, Rush, Mike Oldfield, Neil Morse, Transatlantic, Dream Theater, definitely check this out. It's kind of like a mix of those bands. I really enjoy Garden of Souls as well. Sometimes the vocals remind me of Daniel Tompkins from Tesseract, his clean vocals. There's no screams or anything on here. It's all very beautiful and melodic. So check out The Passing by Jacob Roberge. If you're going to check out anything on here, I think that's the one you got to hear. And then two other amazing albums came out on that same day. FMEB released Allo Babar et les Carambolars on January 31st, the second album by this French band. It's avant-garde progressive death metal with power metal and symphonic metal influences. Very wacky and all over the place. Mostly progressive death metal, but breaks into some parts that are electronic dance music, neoclassical shred guitar, even some female vocals like Great Gig in the Sky by Pink Floyd. So very, very eclectic, very all over the place, and very fun. That's FMEB, and I'm not going to say the French title of that album again. And on that same day, Lunar released Tempora Mutantur, which is the fourth album by this American progressive death metal band. And this one is one that immediately inspired me to go back and listen to their whole discography. Really every band on this list, as soon as I heard their albums. That's one of my criteria that I use to make this list, is like, what are the albums that when I listen to them, if they were bands that were new to me, made me say like, I need to hear this band's entire discography right now. And that's kind of how I decided what albums to put into my list, and this was one of those cases. And all their discography is amazing. Check out Lunar if you're a fan of Between the Buried and Me and Opeth. They even have some moments that are more reminiscent of Tool and Haken. They have intense, harsh vocals at times, but also soaring, operatic, clean vocals at times that would fit in a power metal band or a traditional heavy metal band. And they have two separate vocalists, which is interesting because there are long stretches of time where only one or the other sings. So I don't know what the other one does on stage during that time, because it doesn't look like the vocalists play any instruments. But one of my favorite tracks is Spring in My Step. Really hard to pick a favorite here, but check out Tempora Mutantur by Lunar. Then there were a couple of great releases on February 7th, starting with Dream Theater's Parasomnia, the 16th album by this American progressive metal band, and of course they're kind of the kings of progressive metal, the band that popularized it. And this is their first studio album in over 15 years to feature the original drummer Mike Portnoy since 2009's Black Clouds and Silver Linings. Favorite track right now is Midnight Messiah. It has cool callbacks to other past Dream Theater songs. And yeah, I like this album better. It's not Dream Theater's best album, but I do like it better than A View from the Top of the World. And yeah, it's pretty solid. They're not pushing boundaries too much on this, but I'm just a Dream Theater fanboy. And if you like Dream Theater music in general, you should like this. It's another masterful execution of this style of prog metal from the legends themselves who popularized this genre. So if that sounds good, check out Parasomnia by Dream Theater. And on that same day, Ginger released Duel, the fifth album by this Ukrainian band, and this is progressive metalcore with djent and groove metal influences. They have great female vocals here by Tatiana Shmelyuk, who can scream like a beast and also sings really well. Probably one of my favorite female vocalists in the game right now. Green Serpents, another great track. Tantrum starts off the album really intense and heavy with harsh vocals, but goes into clean, beautiful vocals near the end. Tumbleweed's a great song. Hard to pick a favorite here. And it's even hard to pick a favorite Ginger album because they're very consistent. Of course, once they got Tatiana, I don't like their stuff without Tatiana as much, but it's still decent. But yeah, they've been really consistent ever since Tatiana joined the band, and this is no exception. So check out Duel by Ginger. On February 21st, Shepherds of Cassini released In Thrall to Heresy, the third album by this band from New Zealand, and this is progressive post-metal with progressive rock, atmospheric sludge metal, space rock, and experimental influences. And this one was recommended to me by somebody in the comments, so I definitely recommend people to let me know about cool new music in the comments of my videos down below. Big thanks to people who comment and let me know about awesome stuff, because that's how I learned about Shepherds of Cassini. Check it out if you're a big fan of Tool. It sounds a lot like Tool. Clean vocals remind me of Maynard. The guitar and bass playing is like Tool too. It is mostly clean vocals here, but the track Red Veil features a lot of harsh vocals, and there's a couple brief moment with harsh vocals on other tracks like the end of Abyss the 16-minute prog epic. That's the second last track. And the album closes with Threnody, which is a soft 4.5-minute instrumental synthesizer outro to the album, which has cool bass playing behind it. But my favorite track at the moment is the opening track, Usurper. It's the second longest track on the album at just over 11 minutes in length. It does a great job opening the album and setting the stage for what this band can do. Another cool, unique feature of Shepherds of Cassini is that they feature a violin, and it plays a role similar to what a keyboard player might do in most prog bands. I also enjoy the song Slough a lot. Just amazing album, Enthralled to Heresy by Shepherds of Cassini. On February 28th, Lifting Line Theory released an album called Wonder. This is the debut album by this American band. It's kind of symphonic progressive rock, but it's got a lot of pop influence in it as well. Amazing female vocals by Little Miss. And they're all clean vocals. They sound really catchy. They could be pop vocals. And then the dude, aka Chris Carroll, handles all the instruments. He was working on this album with a classically trained pianist, but sadly a drunk driver took the pianist's life, so Chris had to finish all the instrumental parts of the album himself. Really sad story there. Rest in peace. And apparently this album is only the first part of the music they wrote together, and the rest could be released in the next few years. The album's only 4 tracks, and it starts with an almost 24-minute prog epic called Wonder, which is amazing. Track 2 is Silver Spoon, which is a great song about a spoiled rich girl and spoiled rich boy, probably my favorite on there so far. Third track, Behind the Veil, slows it down a bit, has nice arpeggiated clean guitars, great vocal melody, and then the album ends with an over 13-minute prog epic called Hummingbird, which is also great. So definitely check out Wonder by Lifting Line Theory. Now let's jump into March. What came out in March that makes my top 25? We've got Desiderium on March 14th. They released Keys to the Palace, the 5th album by this American progressive melodic death metal band. It's a one-man project with everything done by Alex Haddad. For fans of Wilderun, Wintersun, Opeth, and Devin Townsend. And my favorite track's currently the opening track, In the Midst of May, but really every track here by Desiderium is amazing. The intro guitar riffs on Keys to Palace Part 1 sound like they would fit in a Devin Townsend song, and there's a nice mix of clean and harsh vocals here. And also on March 14th, Tiktalika released Gods of Pangaea, the second album by this band from the UK. Well, it's not really a band, it's Charlie Griffiths from Haken, his solo project. Progressive thrash metal with groove metal influences, and this is his second solo album. But instead of using his name, Charlie Griffiths, he went by Charlie Griffiths on his first album, which was called Tiktalika. But now instead of using his name, he's going by Tiktalika as the name of the artist, and Gods of Pangaea as the album. This one's very thrash metal inspired for fans of Megadeth, but with some progressive hints for fans of Haken and Between the Buried and Me. There's also nice melodic leads that sound like Iron Maiden. So it's a bit less progressive than his debut album. It combines thrash metal with prog and traditional heavy metal with a groove. But Charlie got great guest vocalists again to work with him. He got Rhodey Walker, Protest the Hero, who I love, Tommy Giles Rogers from Between the Buried and Me, who I love on Lost Continent, probably my favorite track on the album currently. Daniel De Jong on 3 tracks and Vladimir Lalich on 2 tracks. They're great as well. And yeah, there's riffs that sound like Metallica, some riffs that sound like power metal. Just a really cool album, really great guitar playing. Gods of Pangaea by Tiktalika. On March 21st, there was a cool box set that was released by Rush. This one is not going to count on my year-end list, but I wanted to mention it as it's a great compilation, the Rush 50 box set, and I had a really great time listening to it. It includes 50 tracks, including 7 that are unreleased from the early days. Just really cool. It's over 4 hours of music, It was a really enjoyable listen for a Rush fan. So if you're a Rush fan, check out the Rush 50 box set. But also on the same day, there's a band that released their debut album, Dissocia, released To Lift the Veil on March 21st. The debut album by this Spanish-American band, kind of a multinational band with members across the globe. Technical progressive death metal with post-metal, groove metal, shoegaze, synthwave, melodic death metal, and deathcore influences. This is from the mind of multi-instrumentalist Daniel Fleece from Persephone and Eternal Storm. Great bands there that he's involved with. It's got ferocious and convoluted riffs, dreamy synths, extreme and subtle clean vocals, and chaotic and groove drumming, performed by Gabriel Valcazar from the bands Wormed and Cancer. And there's cinematic violin layers as well from Paul Fleece. And yeah, this is mixed and mastered by the prestigious Ukrainian engineer Max Morton, who's worked with Ginger, Ignia, and Chakran. It's a concept album, and it blends lots of cool sounds, nice progressive blend of synthwave, extreme metal, and more. Very unpredictable. Check it out if you're a fan of Persephone, Gojira. Some parts even sound like Animals as Leaders and get pretty technical. And I just really enjoyed the guitar riffing, the drumming, the synths, the vocals, both harsh and clean. My favorite track at the moment is Existentialists. I also love Samsara. So check out To Lift the Veil by Dissocia. On March 26th, there's a great Canadian band that released a debut album. It's a band called Derev. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Derev. And their album Troubled Mind. They're from Canada, so I gotta support and represent my fellow Canadians. And this is progressive metal with kind of an alternative rock influence. Think kind of like the band Tool. If you're a fan of Tool, Opeth, The Anchoret, Ocrist, Pure Reason Revolution, check it out. It's kind of a bit like those bands, but it also kind of has the vocal sound of Mumford & Sons, which is an unusual but a nice combo. And the vocalist on this album is actually featured on my list later, as he's participates in another project. He's kind of featured on this album by Derev, but he also has his own project where he's kind of the main creative force, which is really awesome, which is coming up later as well. So if that sounds good to you, check out Troubled Mind by Derev. And then the EP that I want to call out on my list is by the band No Spoon. It came out March 25th, and it's the Ozai EP re-recorded. This is progressive metal gent from the United States, and they re-recorded an EP that No Spoon made when their band was called Ozai. I listened to the original EP as well. I enjoyed that too. But the performance and production capabilities have improved since they made that in 2014. And so this version's superior to me in every way. And yeah, don't expect this to be as good as their full-length album Opus, which I actually give my true masterpiece ranking. But this one is still a near masterpiece, great prog metal. It's a great snack to tide us over until the next full-length release from No Spoon. It's stylistically different from their debut. It features some harsh vocals, though the focus is still more on clean vocals. My favorite track currently is the Effervescent Power, but really every track's amazing. The Effervescent Powers chorus is just going to get stuck in your head if you listen to it, so definitely check it out. It's awesome. That's Ozai EP re-recorded by No Spoon. Now moving on to April. Allegion released the Ossuary Lens on April 4th. This is the 7th album by this American band, and it's technical melodic death metal with progressive influences. And I love everything by Allegion. I really thought their last one, Damnum, from 2022, was also a near masterpiece. And this one, I haven't decided if it's as good as their last album. It's pretty close. And as expected, amazing guitar playing here. The songs hit with intense brutality in the vocals. If you're a fan of bands like the Black Dahlia Murder, definitely check this out. But this is even better, even more technical, even more progressive version of the Black Dahlia Murder sound, kind of going towards the sound of the Faceless almost. They have moments with keyboards and clean vocal hooks, like on the third track, Driftwood, which is one of my favorites right now. Check out The Ossuary Lens by Allegiant. On the same day, another similar progressive technical death metal album came out by Fractal Universe called The Great Filters, the fourth album by this French band. I love all their albums as well, and this is another amazing addition to their catalog. They deliver again. The clean vocals here actually reminded me a bit of the vocals on the album from Almo last year from 2024 called Reconciliation. Check this out if you like that album, but if you want to hear a more kind of progressive tech death version of that, if you're a fan of the Faceless as well, check out The Great Filters by Fractal Universe. Then there were two great releases that made my list from April 11th, which are the band Flummox and their album Southern Progress, another one that I picked up on physical format. I also picked up Dream Theater's album on physical, Jacob Roberge. Maybe I'll just try to call out the ones that I bought as I come to them. I usually only buy like my top 5 to 10 albums a year, so I listen to a lot of my music on streaming, but this one by Flummox was so great, I had to pick it up in physical format. Southern Progress, their fifth album. This is avant-garde, progressive, stoner doom metal from the US. It's got alternative, psychedelic, southern rock, and art rock influences. It's really another one, kind of like Ethmeb, where there's a lot of different stuff going on, a lot of different styles being thrown at you, and a lot of twists and turns that are unexpected. And really, I think this band's third and fourth album are also near masterpieces like this one. They really have been on a roll on their last few albums. I listened to their first and second album, which I didn't love as much as their third, fourth, and fifth, but everything they've done is great. The singles from this ahead of time are amazing. Southern Progress, Siren Shock, Executive Dysfunction, all really fun, wacky songs. The vocals might be the sticking point for this band for most people. They're very over the top. There's a mix of harsh vocals, screams, shouts, and clean singing. A lot of shout singing that sounds goofy, but it's really fun. And this one's a concept album as well. It's a satirical and scathing critique of Christian nationalism, fascism, and collective trauma, written by a band of queers living in the Bible Belt. So a really interesting concept, really interesting album, lots of cool twists and turns. Listen to this if you're a fan of weird stuff and more eclectic stuff like Others by No One. They share a member in common with that band, Max Mowberry. If you like Mr. Bungle, Primus, Between the Buried and Me, Native Construct, and Haken, check this out. But it's also got this kind of Black Sabbath and doom metal mixed in there, with even some moments of black metal, blast beats from time to time, circus music, southern rock, bluegrass. Amazing journey to listen to this album. My favorite track at the moment is Executive Dysfunction. Check out Southern Progress by Flummox. And on that same day, Benthos released From Nothing, the second album by this Italian band. It's progressive metalcore, kind of genty, kind of mathcore, post-hardcore, emo, experimental, all at the same time here. And I love this album. I also love their debut album. This band seems to be on a roll here. And really, the singles that they put out ahead of this were some of the best early release singles of the year. Let Me Plunge, As a Cordyceps, Fossil, and Pure. Check this band out if you like The Contortionist, The Dillinger Escape Plan, Tesseract, and Protest the Hero. Those are four of my all-time favorite bands, so of course I was pumped for this. Their clean vocals kind of go higher pitch, almost have that emo sound, kind of sound like Dan Tompkins and Ash O'Hara from Tesseract, and Rhodey Walker from Protest the Hero kind of mixed together. The harsh vocals have this mathcore chaos to them that reminds me of Greg Puciato from the Dillinger Escape Plan. And the performances are just out of this world on all the instruments. Sick drum grooves, bass lines, amazing guitar work, great production, amazing compositions, vocal melodies. They really outdid their debut album here, which was already amazing. So I really love this one. This is another one that I actually bought because it's so good. So you can tell kind of what some of my favorite ones of the year are by the ones that I actually picked up in physical format. And next up is Kardashev with their album Alunia that came out April 25th, which was another great day for releases that had three that are going to make my list. And this is the third album by Kardashev. They're an American progressive metal band. It's kind of atmospheric progressive death metal with deathcore, post-metal, shoegaze influence. I think they brand their sound as death gaze, which is kind of interesting. And I really liked their second album, Liminal Right, from 2022. That one was excellent. But I think they've outdone themselves on this one. If you like adventurous, cinematic, extreme metal music like An Abstract Illusion, Ne Obliviscaris, Xanthocroid, and then you combine that with deathcore intensity of Lorna Shore, Fit for an Autopsy, and Whitechapel, but also combine that with great clean vocal hooks. Definitely check out this album by Kardashev. It's an amazing journey from start to finish, even better than the last one. And yeah, this is one where when I heard this, I'm like, I need to listen to everything this band's ever done. So that made me put it on my list. On the same day, Changeling released an amazing debut album. They're a German progressive metal band. It's progressive technical death metal with progressive rock, jazz fusion, and world music influences. This is a project by Tom Goldschlager, also known as Fountainhead. He has a celebrated career marked by over 100 versatile releases, but this is his first album under the name Changeling. And he's got a lot of great guests. He weaves together a lot of different styles: metal, death metal, jazz fusion, world music. He's got a 50-piece ensemble here. He gets ex-members of Obscura, Fear Factory, Alkaloid, Vervum to help him out. And he's got a lot of cool instruments on here. He plays fretted and fretless electric guitar, oud, keyboards. He does the composition and arrangements. He brings in folks to help with drums, fretless bass, other vocals, and there's a large cast of guest musicians, including folks from Trans-Siberian Orchestra, ex-members of Cynic, ex-members of Death, doing guest guitar solos, musicians playing violins, viola, cello, piano, glockenspiel, horns, vibraphone, marimba, flutes, tuba, trumpet, trombones, bassoon, church organ, clarinet, oboe, upright bass, and more. This is just an amazing adventure of an album. Definitely check this out. Changeling, their debut album, self-titled Changeling. And on the same day, another amazing debut from Germany as well, another progressive metal one, a band called Initial Condition and their album Disconnection. For fans of Haken, Dream Theater, and Almo, it ends with a prog epic called Disconnection that's over 20 minutes long. And my favorite track at the moment for that one is Emergency Case. So check out Disconnection by Initial Condition. Now we're getting into May. On May 1st, a great band called Ambrotype released The Colors of Darkness Volume 2, the second album by this project. That started by the individual that I mentioned who sang on the Derev album. He's from Syria, and he started this project, Ambrotype, as a one-man project, but now he's got a band behind him. I think he's moved to the Netherlands, according to my reading on the internet here, so no longer located in Syria. This is progressive metal with acoustic, experimental, death metal, and progressive rock influences. The man's name is Adel Saflou. He relocated to the Netherlands after fleeing Syria because of the war. And in 2020, he got some band members to help him out. Vocals on this album, again, sound a bit like they have a bit of that Mumford and Son vibes to them when he does the clean vocals. He also does some odd, harsh death metal vocals from time to time, but the majority of the time it's clean. The music reminds me of Haken, Opeth, Steven Wilson, O Crust. Those are all artists that I love, so no surprise I love this too. Uh, they've got a 16-minute prog epic called Smile Corrosion, and the whole album is only 4 tracks, but they're all lengthy tracks, over 8 minutes in length, and they're very dense and meaty tracks with a lot going on. So check out The Colors of Darkness Volume 2 by Ambrotype. Now I want to mention a live album. There's going to be 2 that I'm going to briefly mention. Gentle Giant put out Playing the Fool, the complete live experience. Of course, they're an amazing progressive rock band from the UK, classic band from the 70s. And this is a redo of their 1977 live album. It's redone to feature the whole concert. Definitely one that you need to check out. Gentle Giant, Playing the Fool, the complete live experience. And on that same day, an LP came out by the band Maestric, and it's called Espresso della Vita Lunare. This is the 3rd album by this Brazilian band, and it's progressive power metal with symphonic influences. This one by Maestric is for fans of Haken, Dream Theater, Symphony X, Arion, and Caligula's Horse. Think of those bands, but add some more musical theater and symphonic influences, moments of power metal, but also other quirky prog moments, some heavy moments with harsh vocals. Mad Witches is a great track, and this album also ends with an 18-minute prog epic that is Maestric with Espresso della Vita Lunare. The other live album that I want to mention came out May 9th, and it's Haken with Live Forms in the Evening with Haken. Great UK progressive metal band doing a live set. I'm not going to spend as much time talking about the live albums. Let's just jump right into the studio albums. How many do I have left here? Got 4 left on my list. I know this video is getting long, but there's a lot of great music recommendations here, and really, if there's anything on this list that you haven't heard, I implore you to go check it out. May 16th, Callous Cowboys released I Don't Want to See You in Heaven, the 3rd album by this American mathcore band with metalcore, post-hardcore, emo, and alternative metal influences. This is great. All of their albums and EPs so far have been excellent. And yeah, this really cemented their place among my favorite band list now, which, I mean, all of these bands that I'm mentioning today have put out such amazing albums this year that I'm just like, okay, you're now among my favorites. But it does take a lot. I like to think I have high standards, but here are all these amazing albums that I'm talking about that blow my mind every time, including this one by Callous Cowboys. They have the ability to be as catchy as Fall Out Boy and as heavy and chaotic as the Dillinger Escape Plan. They do both extremes really well. And now I'm a lifelong fan. I love every track. Some of my favorites are Schizophrenia Legacy, Two-Headed Trout, and Idiot Temptation Force. Check out the Callous Cowboys, or just Callous Cowboys. I don't know if they have a "the" in their name. I Don't Want to See You in Heaven. Now let's jump into June. I've got 3 from June that have made my list of my top 25 LPs of 2025 so far. One of them is Keonashi from June 6th with I Want to Go Home, the 3rd album by this American post-hardcore band with mathcore, metalcore, emo, pop, and gent influences. And the singles I heard from this ahead of time were Fairmount Park After Dark, When I Say, and Red Sink Yellow Teeth. All very good instrumentally. I had a hard time with the vocals. They take some getting used to. He screams with such a high-pitched scream. It sounds like a Muppet or a Sesame Street character screaming over this band. But when he sings the vocal hooks, he's got a really, really great singing voice. But halfway through the album, I really started to warm up to his harsh vocal style and found them really entertaining. They found them ridiculous. I found them fun to listen to. And they're just well done. My favorite tracks are When I Say, Red Sink Yellow Teeth, and the Sanguine 3 Auditorium Annihilation. Check this band out if you're a fan of crazy mathcore stuff like Callous Cowboys, Dillinger Escape Plan. If you want to hear that mixed with emo-inspired metalcore like Killswitch Engage, Under Oath, and guitar riff-driven post-hardcore music like Chiodos, and even some progressive metal like Protest the Hero, some genty vibes that remind me of Periphery, Sixth, and Meshuggah. Actually, the harsh vocals sound a lot like the harsh vocals of Sixth. They also kind of remind me of the song Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies, in that they're just like almost like spoken word in their cadence, but they're these high-pitched screams, and they sound like someone who's unhinged, like a crazy person having a fit. And yeah, this one's really growing on me every time I listen to it. I like it more, and I'm glad I stuck it out a bit and acquired the taste for those shockingly harsh vocals. That's Keonashi, I Want to Go Home. On June 13th, I got two releases, the last two I'm going to talk about, that made this list, which are Byzantine and their album Harbingers, seventh album by this American band. And this is progressive groove metal with thrash metal and metalcore influences. And I love all the work that Byzantine's done throughout their career. If you're a fan of Lamb of God, check it out, but imagine Lamb of God having more progressive rock influence. This album keeps up the amazing quality from Byzantine. It's on the same level as their last three in a row that I think have all been near masterpieces. And really everything this band does is great. They don't miss. Their earlier stuff had a bit rougher production, but it's polished now. It sounds amazing, masterfully written, performed, and produced progressive groove metal. I think this band is now the kings of that particular subgenre. They're definitely not as popular as they should be, but I hope that more people check them out. My favorite track of the moment is Irene, the closing track. And last on my list of my 25 favorite LPs of 2025 so far is Okrist and their album Waving at the Sky, the second album by this Norwegian band. It's progressive metal. It's got some harsh vocals, but mostly clean vocals, kind of like a Porcupine Tree sound, but with some heavy, crushing riffs like Opeth. And I thought their debut album was a near masterpiece as well. This album's just as good. I haven't decided which I like better, the debut or this yet. But definitely check this out if you're a fan of Opeth, Porcupine Tree. The Malevolent features Ross Jennings of Haken on guest vocals. He does a great job as usual. And this album's a concept album. It's a prequel to the story from their debut, which I'm not going to get into because I don't really follow story details that closely. The music here, though, has amazing composition, performances, production, all stellar. The album is mostly clean singing, brief moments of harsh vocals like the last 15 seconds of The Trauma. So if that sounds good to you, check out Waving at the Sky by Okrist. And that's it for my list. Hopefully you found something new to check out on this list. And let me know if you did down in the comments. What are you most excited to listen to from my list? What did I inspire you to check out? Do you like my list? Do you agree with these albums all being great, near masterpiece? And my one masterpiece by Jacob Roberge. Do you agree with this list? Do you hate some of these albums? Are there some others that you're shocked or missing? Let me know your favorites of the year so far down in the comments as well. And stay tuned for my next video. I'm not sure what my next video will be. It'll probably just be my first impressions of some new releases that are coming out on July 11th. There are also a couple new releases that came out on July 8th that I listened to, so I'm going to bundle those into my July 11th video. So if you want to hear my first impressions of new music in metal, rock, and prog, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay in the loop on when I post new videos. I do so weekly. Stay tuned for next time. Peace out.